Have you ever wondered why some real estate agents perform at ultra-high levels every single year? Welcome to the Unstoppable Agent Podcast with your host, Richard Fournier. Each week, we interview real estate agents from around the world who are constantly ranked in the top 1% of the real estate industry. My mission, share with you their best strategies so that you can create your own peak results as a real estate agent. It's time to become unstoppable.
Hello and welcome back to this episode of the Unstoppable Agent Podcast. I'm your host, Rich Fournier. Very excited to be here with you today. I'm grateful to have, I think, someone very special. She was on my old podcast a few years ago. Her podcast was downloaded thousands of times around 13 different countries. I'm not sure she's aware of that. So I'm so excited that she agreed to come back with us today post-COVID. I want to welcome Flash Blum from Sotheby's International Realty.
Thank you, Richard.
I'm so excited to have you. Listen, before we get started and get into the meat and the potatoes, the dirt of the game of real estate, I just want our listeners, because it is an international audience, I want them to know who you are, where you're located, and some of the accomplishments that you have had in your career, because this podcast is about interviewing the top 1% in the industry, because success leaves clues. So for our audience, you're currently with Sotheby's International Realty. You are a senior global real estate advisor with Sotheby's. In 2020, you were ranked by the Wall Street Journal in the top 250 real trends rankings. In 2021, you were number one individual sales by sales volume at Sotheby's in your office in downtown New York. Currently, you're a sales partner with the number one sales team in New York City at Sotheby's International Realty, and ranked number 3 nationally. That's quite a mouthful. Hopefully I got it right.
Yeah, you did. So you can see my business plans kind of has shifted during COVID. So we're going to talk about, looking at your career and when it's time to pivot, when it's time to shift, when, you've got to kind of go with the flow of your business plan. Like, I look at my business plan every year, and then I try to achieve that goal. So,
right, because we spoke in the middle of COVID. When people were wiping down groceries still, right? Like, we were in that space where the world was stopped. And that was the last time we spoke. And now, you've kind of made some different decisions for your business and career. I think you're evolving, over the course of your career currently with the way the state of the market is. And if we can just maybe take 5 minutes, go backwards a little bit, talk about when you got started, the pain, a little bit of the pain that started with the start of real estate, and how long you've been in, and just kind of give people a sense of the evolution of your career.
The evolution of my career from the very beginning?
Just really quickly, right from the beginning. How long have you been?
Really quickly. Okay. So I hate to even say the year, but it was a long time ago. It was in 1991 that I became I got my real estate license, started in commercial real estate. So you can see how careers evolved. I did a whole bunch of deals in commercial real estate, realized it wasn't my passion, though I could have stayed there and continued to do like retail commercial. But it gave me a good foundation, but it was a very bad time in the real estate market, similar to what it is now. It was the internet bubble. There was a bubble happening, but there's not a bubble here, but it was a difficult time to sell real estate. And my neighbor in my loft building couldn't sell their apartment, and they needed to move. So they had blown through like 3 real estate brokers, and the apartment was blue, like our backgrounds, right? Well, blue doesn't sell, right? Blue didn't sell in 1991. Anyway, I secured the listing, and I sold the residential loft, and I realized I loved it. I just, because I live in a loft, and I loved it. So I said, okay, I'm going to stay with this commercial firm and I'm going to be their go-to, residential real estate broker. So that's how the career started. We were circling things in the New York Times. There was no internet. It was a very different, very, very different time to sell real estate, but what a great experience, because it really taught you how to market, how to sell, how to use the phone, how to get people into your listings when there was a limited buyer pool and a massive amount of properties being put on the market every week. So that's how it started. And then the decision, and it was a very difficult decision, the decision in 2000 was to move from this small boutique commercial firm. I saw the industry changing to a firm that I thought I'm a little bit of a address pig, I guess. I don't know, a brand pig. So anyway, so Sotheby's International Realty is the luxury.
So you've been with Sotheby since 2000.
Yes, 22 years. Yeah, I didn't move from here. This is to me, I made the right choice. I'm the manager. They were opening a new office at Sotheby's downtown in Soho. They have an uptown office and they have a downtown office. And that's it. There are 2 offices, and we compete against other firms that have 20 offices. And the collective volume of our sales volume is competitive with some of the other local firms that have many, many offices. So it's because you have to have a book of business. You have to have a book of business to come to Sotheby's. So this is actually really funny. So in 2000, I interviewed with my manager. Her name's Diane Levine, and she's an attorney that I met in a transaction. And so I knew her, and she was just opening this office, and there were like 10 people in the office. And I'm like, okay, this is small. I can handle it. I came from a boutique commercial firm. I didn't want to be in a big company that they have. And so anyway, so I interviewed with her. Of course, I brought a listing with me. I'm like, I've got to sell this listing. My girlfriend wanted to move out of the city, so I had to get her loft on the market. So I come and I interview with Diane, and I said, listen, I can't be a 50% broker, like 50% split, 50-50.
Right.
If it's 50-50, I said, just fire me. Just fire me, because I came and I knew in my other company, you didn't have to hit certain numbers in order to get your split at a certain level. It was scary. It's scary for young brokers to understand that you come to a company. I don't know how it works in Canada or in the international, but there's a split that you have with your company, and then there's the commission that you get on your exclusive listings. So I go for the highest commission all the time, 6% split, 50-50 on my exclusive listings. And then, whether it's a 3% commission, then the brokerage firm, whatever the commission is, they'll take out that. And the lowest, the entry level is 50%. So of course I negotiated well for myself.
Now, can I ask a quick question? Is that still the same? I know some of our Canadian listeners are dying to hear this. Is that still the standard across the major brokerage names out there? We can name them, but it doesn't matter. Is that the standard still? There isn't a standard. You're not allowed to have a standard. Okay. Right.
Okay. So
yeah,
because of the laws. So I know that each
company, the split. I'm talking not the commission charge. I'm talking about the split.
Okay, the split, I don't think it's standard. I think that each company decides what your sales volume has to be
to get
in order to get a certain split. And you come up every year.
Every year it returns to the beginning.
Every year it can return back if you don't hit your numbers.
So I'm just going to stop you for one sec. So my Canadian audience, you have no idea how good you have it here in Canada. Okay. Just remember how good you have it in Canada. Mara, we and I can talk about that later, but
okay. Well, I'm dying to hear that. So you have to tell me how it goes. Right. I can't believe we started off with this COVID conversation and now I'm telling you
Yeah, it's really good. So listen, here's the truth about our industry. And the reason why I reach out to people who are top producers. Agents are struggling, but they've struggled even in the hottest markets in history. So, we just came out of the hottest market in history for like 5 years aside from COVID. Like it was insane. We were on offers at 80 offers on properties. I mean, it was insane up here in the Toronto market.
You open the door, the property sold, right?
Right, within 10 minutes. So, unless you were holding off offers. So I think even in that market, okay, on the Toronto Real Estate Board, which is the largest board in the world, so say you're anywhere between 65 to 70,000 members just in a small geographic area. 25+% of them do 0 deals a year, even in the hottest market in history. And then from there, maybe another 25 do maybe 3 deals a year or 4 deals a year. And then it's the top 5% that are doing the majority of the transactions. And so even in the hottest market, the most loose financial monetary policies in the face of the earth, people weren't making any money. And I'm like, okay, why? What is this thing, right? So
what was it? What is it?
I have some thoughts around it. So I'm like, why you, Mar? Why you? Why have you been able to last 22 plus years in New York, right? Like competitive, like historically speaking, one of the greatest places on earth for business. Why you? Why have you been able to outperform, named top 250 in the nation? Now you migrated to it.
It's kind of shocking.
Why no? But why you?
I was an actress, and right. I thought I had no EP. You know what EP is?
I know EQ, emotional intelligence. But
EP is earning power.
No
earning power. Okay, I'm an actress. I'm creative.
Sure.
This is what I do.
Right.
And then I was at a point that was kind of fear-based. There was a turning point in my life,
right,
where I had children and I had a husband. I had 2 children, and my husband was doing a lot of traveling. And I thought, oh my goodness, if something happens to my husband, how am I going to take care of these children? And I'm a saver. I'm a competitor. As an actress, I'm a competitor. You get out there, you audition, it's the same. It parlayed pretty good. Like I knew that if I went and became a legal secretary or something like that, I had a cap on what I could make. Right? In acting, you don't have a cap on what you can make.
Right.
You just got to keep at it. One commercial at a time, one play at a time, and you have to work all the time, because there's the part of acting that brings in some money, and then there's the part of acting that doesn't bring in some money. So it's kind of the same thing with real estate. There, you have to be able to market yourself, market yourself, and create a network among the people who know you. And you have to have real motivation. Like I have internal drive, internal motivation. If you don't have that inside your body, and you don't have the confidence to say, I know I'm the best. I know that if you pick me to sell this property, I'm going to sell it, and I'm going to get you the highest possible number. And I'm going to do it within a short time frame. Because how I used to say is like, I need a 6 months exclusive, 3 months to market and sell the property, get it in contract, and 3 months to close in New York, because we have board applications, etc. So I always gave myself 6 months. And my business plan back then, and my business plan even now, I think I'm reverting back to my original business plan, is to get 5 saleable listings, sell them each 3 months in contract, 3 months in contract, 3 months in contract, and then move on to the other 5, and then move on to the other 5. And then I keep an Excel sheet of all the deals that I've done. But we're talking about, like, I want to dial back about what you said. How can you stay in this industry if you're not doing any deals in 1 year? Like, if you're not making any money and you're holding on to the license, what's your business plan? I want to understand what their business plan is. So you have 2 choices. If you do not have a book of business, now everybody can get a book of business, whether it's a rental, let's put an example. Like, you could give me an age group, or like give me an example of who in the industry. Is it just starting out? Or do they already
Sure.
have
Like, so what I have seen, Mara, I have seen that even the agents who've been around a while, because real estate was here in Canada, I can't speak for anywhere else. I can watch other places, but I can speak for Canada. It's a religion. Real estate is it's a cult.
we have a great partnership with Sotheby's International Realty Toronto. Great partnership.
Right. And so
top brokers, top brokers.
Yeah, I'm actually looking for one guy, Richard. I want to get him on. So if he's listening to this, Richard, I'm coming for you. But because the spirit of real estate was so fast, it was such a tradable commodity that it wasn't about living, it was about asset growth, and it comprises such a big component of our GDP, that agents forgot how to prospect, cultivate relationships, and build a book of business, because it was so fast for so long. They didn't have to have it. Was, if you found
interesting,
it was
very interesting.
It was very fun. Now all of a sudden, I speak with agents, say, Rich, I don't even know what to do. I hear what I should have done, but my CRM, I have no one in my database. It was just like a mishmash of craziness. And the really good are, they have great databases. They cultivate relationships over time, but the majority it was just the Wild West.
I don't let go of these relationships.
Right.
I mean, I don't even want to tell you.
Tell me.
I'm marketing a property now where I sold this listing to them at least 25 years ago.
Right. Amazing.
Okay. So the relationships that you met, and I've sold like 7 units in the building. But the relationships that you make, like, I would check in. I send a holiday card every year. I check in with them. Hi, this is your ex-real estate broker. I'm just checking in on your life. How are you doing? How old are the kids? What's happening in your life? You want to keep that even after the relationship has expired, because that person had a good experience with you. You were with them during a very intimate time in their lives. It could be when they're getting a divorce. It could be when they're the change that you have in real estate. I mean, I do transitions. Like, I am not a broker that you would call to, let's say, do investment sales. Like, I want to buy 10 properties and rent them out. That's not what I do. That's not my niche. But if that's your specialty, what is your specialty? Like, find that out. Like, I sell downtown lofts. That was my specialty. Now I sell all over the city, and I sell luxury, but I also sell the whole market. And I also can specialize in cooperatives, which are very difficult to sell here, because you have the board process and putting those packages together, which not every broker knows how to do. Like, what I'm finding is these young brokers do not have market knowledge. Like, get out. Go look at property, find out. I know every line in every building, and if it's now there's a lot of new construction. So if I want to continue with this career, I got to get out there. I've got to see that new building that's popping up in the middle of Midtown. So I can speak intelligently about what's happening in New York. Interesting what's happening in New York right now.
Can I summarize that a little bit? Where I'm getting from you, from the initial part of the conversation, this internal drive has, from what I've experienced communicating with people like you, okay, what I've experienced is that there is just hear me first, it's irrational belief. Like,
it's what?
Almost irrational belief.
Irrational belief?
Like, what they can accomplish, that, like, they believe in themselves so much. They believe that if they can create something from nothing, Because they're willing to do what's necessary. Like they have faith in themselves. And I know this sounds esoteric, but I can do tips, tricks, tools, website lead generation systems, but the faith.
Yeah. I don't do any of that.
Right.
I don't do any of that. I don't have a CRM. I keep.
Do you have a pad and a paper?
No, I have an Excel. I have an Excel. I have a mailing list.
Right.
And I'm constantly changing it and updating it.
Right.
And I put people in there that I have a relationship. Think about it like this. Facebook, Instagram, those aren't real relationships. Okay. Those are not intimate, real relationships. I focus on the intimate relationships because those are the ones. There are people that are out there that will refer you over and over and over again, and you're generous with them as well. There's got to be a give and take. So if they refer you, usually friends, if they have a good experience, they want to refer their friend and their friend. Like I remember blowing through Morgan Stanley, blowing through Goldman Sachs. I did one deal with one guy, and then all of a sudden, I have like a whole other, you're, so-and-so's broker, and I want to talk to you about my real estate. But as the industry changed, I'm very fortunate, Sotheby's International Realty, I've been able to use the brand and have partnerships, even with partnerships with Toronto, where they refer business here, because the investors in Toronto real estate want to invest in New York real estate.
Right.
I mean, I can take one investor and show them a good deal and do that, but I don't want to, I'm not, there are other people on my team that I would partner with that have, that are a numbers guy. I'm not a numbers guy. Like I know who I am. I'm somebody who cares, who can carry you and transition you from the apartment that you can't let go because you've lived there for 20-something years.
Right.
And it's just so hard to just say goodbye, but and then put them into another lifestyle, whether it's downsizing is really hard. And even upsizing is really scary because you sold your 2-bedroom apartment. I'm working with somebody now who sold their 2-bedroom apartment. They're in a rental. Okay, so they're in a really good position. And I tell them, yesterday I took them out, said, this is the time to buy. It is so slow right now. You've got to get ahead of the pack. Get ahead of the pack. You're the bidder. You're the sole bidder. The buy side leverage is incredible. But the problem is the buyers that are out there looking are so hesitant because they think that it's looking for Mr. Goodbar. Mr. Goodbar's not good enough. I have to wait and see if Milky Way, the Milky Way is going to be better than Goodbar. So Milky Way could come on the market next week. And I stuck with Goodbar, so they feel this sense that there's something better down the road for them. And I think that's causing, I'm going to use the word, I think in New York, we have a constipated market, a constipated market.
It's just,
it's very different. It's very different today than in any other market I've been in. I've lived through everything. I mean, I've lived through a lot of markets. I lived through September 11th. God bless. We just had the anniversary, and I saw what the market did then. And it was so interesting because I live downtown, not far from there, and my partner is uptown. It's like nothing happened.
Right.
In the real estate market uptown, like nothing happened. Where they shut down, below 14th Street. So they shut the streets down. And I had a property I had to sell in Tribeca, which is not far from the World Trade Center. So how do you do that? And they needed to get out. So I had to live through and figure out how these challenges in any market, whether there's a new construction condo happening across the street from the property that you just put on the market. So I've lived through a lot of scenarios, and I think that experience, I'm now arrived at a certain point. So that's why I made a different, business plan for myself.
Well, it looks like, the level of certainty that you have around who you are and what you can do for people is you can't buy that certainty. You can't buy that confidence because you've lived.
You can't buy the experience. But if you're starting off as a young broker, if I look back in myself, and I was a young broker, and you make mistakes and you learn from them. You make other mistakes, you say the wrong thing, you want it too much. You can never want to sell a property when you're negotiating. You can never want the deal more than the seller wants the deal.
Right.
You can never want the deal more than the buyer wants the deal. And if that happens, they can read that you don't have their best interest in mind, that you have your best interest in mind. So I never had that. I've always put the property and my fiduciary responsibility to whether it's a buyer or a seller before my own needs. And that, I don't know if everybody does that.
Well, I can tell you they don't. But I think what I've come to see, the ones that stay the course, the ones that last the longest, the ones that the reputation, you can hear it in the marketplace, you can feel it when you're around them. When you're dealing with a reputable person in the industry, you can feel it, you can sense it, you can see it. Maybe you can't describe it. Maybe you don't have the language, but you can feel it.
When I was younger, I had a little saying in my head, buyers and sellers come and go, but brokers stay for the long term.
Right.
So you want to get into another broker's listing. You want to have good relationships with these brokers. I think mistakes young brokers make is they want the deal so much, they start screaming at the listing broker. First of all, the listing broker can't hear you. Second of all, you have to learn how to communicate what it is that whether you're a buyer or a seller's representative, what your client wants, right? To the other broker. You have to communicate it in such a way that we're not in an adversarial position. We're both in the same position of trying to get a deal done. So you have to really understand the machinations of a deal and I really do love that part of the business. And so those are the things you learn and have experiences and chalk it up. But I would say just from the beginning, just think about putting your client's needs ahead of your own. Because there's a lot of, I'm stopping advertising what you had nicely said my accomplishments were at the beginning. I stopped advertising because I'm noticing now everybody on Facebook is number one. Everybody on Instagram is number one. Number one this month, number one last month. It's not about being number one. It really is not. There are many, many good brokers that aren't number one because they choose to have a certain amount of business and do it well. I think pushing yourself just to be number one, it doesn't work. It just doesn't work. I think what motivated me was making sure I could take care of my children, that I became an independent woman financially, that I was able to put my children through school debt-free, that I was able to, real estate's given me so much. My younger son is a lawyer and we put him through law school. He worked with me for a little while to help that out. But, so the motivation, it was for me to do all those deals. Like in 2021 was like insanity. In everybody's market, right? We came back, we had a lot of optimism, and I don't know how I blew through and did like 38 deals. Like I have no idea how that happened. Why, it was just raining deals.
I think you've got to put it in context. You 38 deals. in New York, like, I mean,
Yeah, I mean,
the volumes are quite high. Like, that's high volume,
it's
sophisticated.
high volume, and you try and working the whole market.
Right, not like like you're everywhere inside that market.
No, in 2009, I don't know if we said this on the podcast last time. In 2009, since I've lived through so much, where the stock market's doing what it's doing, today, right? Kind of, but not as bad as it was in 2009. It was very, very scary. I said, okay, all right, let's look at the business plan. This is where we are in the marketplace. Luxury real estate was not selling. The high end was not moving, but there was incentives Obama put in about, getting a car, your first time mortgage. There were incentives to help the market, the housing market move. So I said, I'm just going to sell, in volume, and I'm going to sell in the low end, below $1 million. I'm just going to, that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to sell volume below $1 million. And I'm not sure how exactly, I can't remember how I made that happen. But in 2009, that's when they started ranking, I was in the top 25 in the country because, and Sotheby's International Realty, because other brokers gave up. They just gave up. Like, if I can't do my $5 million deal, which I was, at that point, I wasn't doing $5 million deals anyway. But they just, I'm only working the high end, and I'm not gonna take the 1 bedrooms and the 2 bedrooms. And
right.
So working the full breadth of the market also helps you, because you don't know what segment of the market is moving right now. And the segment of the market that's moving in New York, you have the lower end moving, and then you have the very higher end moving. There's quite a number of sales happening, above $10 million in the city, which is, I don't know who all these people are. They're out there.
Send them up here. I got some cottage property for you if you really want to, drop.
Yeah, no, it's a very different market. That did not happen in 2009. If you were a high-end buyer, I sold a townhouse in 2009. I had a high-end buyer. He was a hedge fund guy, and he knew this was the time to buy because nobody's buying, and he was sitting on money. So, we're in that, to equate where we are now, people are making money. And if they don't want to put it in the stock market, they're going to start to sit on it.
Right.
And if they start to sit on it, and the interest rates are higher now, why not just the interest rates aren't going to stay this high forever, probably, it ebbs and flows. I don't know. I mean, I don't know what's really going to happen, right?
We can get into that. We can definitely get into that afterwards. I want to ask you a question, if you don't mind me asking, because I am super curious. As you know, I'm really focused on the mind and how the mind works and how to create from nothing. Why someone else does it, why someone else doesn't do it. I'm fascinated by that. You made a decision in 2009. Like what was that process? I'm not going to give up. Like, the whole world is caving in. Like it didn't happen here in Canada, by the way. The US, the MBS market, went cold. There was no movement. It was a full freeze on credit.
I know, and I'm a top broker in 2009.
So when I want the audience to hear this, because these things leave clues, and sometimes they don't want to execute on it, but I want them to understand there is a process that happens when someone makes a decision. Like, what was that for you? You could have either, given up on your life and found some other situation. You could have still married. You could have figured something out. But why did you stay? And what was that decision process like?
The decision in 2009 the stock market was at 6,000.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And I had, given the way we have our income come in, and then you pay your taxes quarterly, or I pay my taxes quarterly. I don't know. Some real estate brokers don't plan ahead, which is not good, but I'm very conservative financially myself. So I'm always looking ahead, and I had done a lot of investments, up to that point, because I'm saving for my retirement.
Right.
Not only am I saving for my kids' college education, my kids' graduate school education, I'm saving for my retirement. And I maximize every year, I maximize the amount of money I put in my retirement. Like I go all the way, like I just take that in the taxes. That's what I work on to make sure I pay. And so I said to myself, well, do you want to be selling real estate with a cane here, or you just got to figure out a way, deal by deal, step by step, day by day? What can I do? There's something to do every single day to generate business. And you need to figure out how to. So I would pick up the phone, call past clients and say to so-and-so, like, I'm really not busy. Do you know what?
You did not. You did not. Did you?
I swear to God, I
Right.
picked up the phone.
Right.
I picked up the phone and I called Morgan Stanley. You know, I called the clients that I was talking to you about, and they were just as scared. I said, do you know anybody who needs to sell, who needs to buy? I'm like, so not busy. I'm so not busy. So if you know anybody, I'd really appreciate the referral. So that's what happened in 2009. I worked my referral base, my client base, not. So that was part of my learning process to ask for the job.
Can I go with here? And I know everyone wants, what kind of tactics? Like, this is gold, because people don't want to look small.
Vulnerable.
Oh, for
All
small,
those
like
podcasts
vulnerable,
on
right?
vulnerable.
Yeah.
I show vulnerable. I exude vulnerable.
I know. And I think that's why I'm so endeared towards the relationship, right? Because that's honest. So here's and for our audience, let's set the stage again, right? It's a very successful real estate broker in New York. The world changes. This person starts asking for help. I need business. Who do you know? So that psychological shift, where most would never, they would put on front, they would look at me, I'm still great, everything's fine. Like, why would you be able to do that, which was the right move, 100%? Like, did you not care what people thought about you? Were your goals so much bigger than the feeling you had around what other people?
I mean, listen, I didn't do that to everyone.
But
I did it to my. I did call my closest
circle
friends and my closest, what they call ninja selling now, right?
Right. But at the same time, most people would definitely not do that to their closest people, but they want to put it out. Like, so was the goal or the determination so much bigger than your current feeling? That's what it sounds like.
I mean, I really didn't think ahead to where I am today in my career.
Right.
And I'm kind of shocked, as I said, you know, here's this aspiring actress, went to acting school. I didn't have that financial background. You know, I was good at math, but I'm good at calculating commission. That's it. But I learned so much, you know, just from during the board packages and understanding and also working on my own financial picture. I got a business education just doing my job. Which I like that section. I like that part of doing my job. I like the negotiating part.
Like you have a fire inside that I'm noticing that people that seem to do well in any part of life, they see something. You know, they go after, right, Mara?
I was thinking about what to say to you today that would be helpful maybe to you. Yeah. There are generators, people who generate business. And then there are servicers, people who service the business. So you have to decide if you want to be in the business and you cannot generate a business, then you need to figure out, and you're good at it and you love it, then maybe you need to get a job servicing the business. So like my assistants service my business and I pay them a portion or allocate or whatever. We work something out for each one. So that you can go that route. You can align yourself with a big broker who needs help. But then you will never be a generator, and you will always have a cap. There'll be some kind of cap on your income, because what you're doing is servicing other people's business and not stopping you from creating your own business. So, but if you're not capable, then you're not capable.
So I had a broker say to me that it's either you have it or you don't. It can't be taught. Now, I have some differentiating opinions around that. Is it a decision to be a generator? And you can become a generator? Is that all it is?
It's a decision. It's a decision, but and I'm going to go back to, with the acting thing. There are people that I had to be the lead in the play. I just either the second funny lead, but one of the principals in the play. I'm just not a chorus person. I'm not good at it. I can't. I do my own thing. It's like I would be like in Funny Girl when she goes off and she can't be a swan, right. In that piece. So if you're not capable, if you just don't have that fire, that motivation to work hard. I work really, really hard, and now I'm at a point where I have a different business plan, but I live to work. I live to work. Okay. For all those years I did. And now I'm going to try to switch. I told you I was going to talk about balance. The millennials today want that balance immediately. They don't want to live to work. They want to work to live, and they want to travel. And I'm in Spain and somebody else is servicing my business, and I don't know, maybe that works, but I was hands-on. I was a hands-on broker. When they hired me, they got me. They got all of me. And I learned during COVID, they could still get all of me, but I didn't necessarily have to show the apartment, because I was concerned about my health. I'm at a certain age, and I didn't want to be exposed. It's in New York City, and we were shut down. We were shut down, completely shut down for months and months and months and months. During those months, you asked me this, how did you navigate through the end of COVID, right? How did I navigate through COVID? I was working every single day when it was shut down. Every single day I was calling clients. I was seeing how they're doing. I was negotiating, renegotiating, really killer. This really, really killed me, because it was like an $8.6 million contract on a penthouse that should have sold. It was March, and right before the closing, the shutdown happened. So what do you think the buyer did? The smart buyer did with the smart broker? They renegotiated. They retraded. I never had this in September 11th. Right. In September 11th, I didn't have the retrade. I had a retrade, and then I had a seller that should have retraded, but was so stubborn, they didn't retrade, and I couldn't close that deal. It's so painful when you go all the way, you get board approval, and it just doesn't close, and it ends up in litigation. They ended up finding a way out. The buyer said, I'm not closing. I'm just not closing. So the seller probably ended up with something, but the brokers ended up with nothing after all this, time.
And for our audience, right? You're hearing with among the very best in the game in New York, right? Problems happen. You're going to have to, in every business, the more successful you are, the more problems you're going to have.
Yeah.
If you don't want the problems, you're not going to get the money.
Yeah, it's stressful. This business is very very stressful. I'm like in a stressful situation right now. So they hire you. One of my clients said to me, well, it's not my problem. I hired you. It's your problem.
And they're not
they trusted me so
Yeah,
much
right.
that it was my problem to sell their apartment, figure out a way to sell their apartment, whatever time frame it was. And you have to have that skill. You have to have a lot of skill sets to be good at it. You have to have marketing skill sets, selling skill sets, negotiating skill sets, business skill sets, how to do a whole business plan for yourself. You're running a little business.
Right.
So also during COVID, the decision was made. I had partnerships, a partner that I've been partnering with 22 years since I came to the company, that she's in the Uptown office, and the decision was made to join forces. And she's I do not want to manage people. So if you want to be on a team, if you want to lead a team, you better have really good managing skills. Because if you don't, you're going to spend your whole day managing and you're not going to sell anything. So, the team model, there are many, many team models, and that's what I see most of now, that these partnerships and these teams coming in.
If you look forward the next 12 to 24 months, what advice can you give our audience today to make it through and to possibly thrive if they choose to? What does that look like?
So the interest rates are going up, right?
Yeah.
But as I said, a lot of people will start to sit on cash because I do believe that that there are buyers out there that are making money and saving it. They don't want to put it in the stock market. So you're going to see, I don't know in Toronto or your other markets, but if there's a bonus season that comes in, that might go right into the cash kitty, right? So it moves, but you have to have market knowledge. You have to know where the deals are, who are the real sellers, who are the aspirational sellers.
Right.
For you to capture somebody online, like these people that are we talking to people that have no listings and no business, or are we talking to people that have some business and want to keep it going?
Yeah, I think the majority, who are listening, I mean, you're gonna have people that are high end, who are listening to this, who are doing 300 deals a year, team leaders, team owners. You're gonna have people who are, I would say they're in the game. At the very least, they're in the game, maybe 100K plus. Those are the people who are going to be listening to this.
Yeah, in this market, you really have to search and farm for those listings that have been languishing on the market, and there maybe need to be reinvented because they've been on the market 400 and something days and they haven't moved, or keep a list of the properties that you think that the sellers are aspirational, and see. I don't know how long of an exclusive do these people usually get? Is it 6 months usually, or 4, or
our language is different. I think speak to the United States audience, because we can translate it into Canadianese.
Oh, into Canadian language. We usually have a 6-month exclusive. Right. So you can mark your calendars from 6 months to when something comes on, to see if that property is still on at that time, and then you can certainly write them a note. I don't do that, but I know that it works. Yeah. Like, you have to get business from somewhere. If you have a listing and there's buyers that have come in and they don't want the listing that you have, and you strike a relationship, it's always good to keep in touch with that particular buyer. If they're not buying that one, maybe they'll, you'll be able to develop a relationship and take them out. It's hard. I would even do rentals. Like, if I needed to make money, I would I'd take anything. I mean, I take anything that comes my way. When I was building my career, whatever came my way, however hard it is, I just got in there and I competed for it. And sometimes it's a beauty contest, and you have to learn how to win the beauty contest. And that's the other thing you could do is work on your presentation, work on why you. Well, why should I hire you? I want to understand why I should hire you over someone else. You know, part of it's the company you work for, combined with, that's why I'm at Sotheby's International Realty. I know our marketing, I know our strengths, I know I can take the brand, and whatever brand you have, whatever company that you're working with, you need to know what that company is offering your seller in order to compete for those exclusive listings. So get a presentation that'll blow people away, and also understand the market, because if you do a comparable analysis on properties and you haven't seen any of those properties, you don't really know. And if the seller has seen those properties that are comparable to in their building, and you didn't have to take the time to go to the building and actually look at that property before you priced yours, you wouldn't know that the property that you're comparing it to needs hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of work, and the one that you're in is move-in ready. Or the flip side of it, yours needs a ton of work, and the one that's priced the same is move-in ready. So you have to kind of deduct what those people want move-in ready. It's really hard to sell something that needs some work. So then the other service that I offer is I'm very, very good at staging. Very good. I have a listing right now. What a difference. I mean, just an incredible difference. When they walked in, I showed it yesterday. It was such a pleasure to hear a buyer say, "Oh, this is so beautiful. Is it staged?"
And thank you. I did it.
I'm glad you liked it.
It sounds like to me, and I'm summarizing, and it's not, and it's the truth is, TikTok is not going to make or break you. Okay, you have to know your product as a professional. Go pro. Like, go pro in the real estate industry. You have to show up every single day, develop deep, lasting relationships, right? It is a future-based focused business. It's not, slamming it down today. It's for the future.
Knowledge.
Knowledge.
Market knowledge. That's huge. Market knowledge is huge. Find your specialty. If you're going to do market knowledge, I know a broker, she just specialized in penthouses. Well, if you specialize in penthouse, go see every penthouse that's out there.
Right. And of course, this is depending on the market you're in. Where I am in the suburbs, I don't have any penthouses. I got one or two maybe, right? So, but knowing your market and saying what is going to move in this market, right? Like I know an agent who, a friend of mine, his wife did, 12, 13 leases last month. She can eat last month. Right. So they're really good.
Smart. Right. What you just said is really, really smart. See what's moving, and get yourself in that marketplace. Also, talk to your managers. If you're in the office, you're building your own business. My manager was instrumental in building it. I'd say like the highest sale was like 800,000. Then it went to, 2 million. It's really exciting, Right. Then I hit a $3.5 million sale, which was super exciting. And then I hit like a $23 million sale, right? Because the relationship that I had started off at 900,000. Then they bought something for over 2 million a penthouse. Then I sold that for like 4 something. Then they bought a townhouse for 15 million. Then I resold it for 23 million. One relationship, long-term, upwardly mobile. Right. That helped build my, thank you to my client. No, but I thanked him over and the couple over and over again for being so loyal and giving me this opportunity and trusting me with their biggest asset. I mean, real estate is a big mama asset in people's portfolio, and you have to understand that how important your job is and what you have in your hands. Like, I think the financial industry, the financial advisors, the market's going down. Are they checking in with you? Like when the market goes down, I check in with myself. I just check in. How are you doing? Don't worry, it's coming back. Oh, you know what? It's all about to me, it's all about caring. But again, I may not be the most normal person, business person.
So I'll tell you, and I think we should kind of maybe summarize a little bit just for the sake of the time. For most people can only listen as long as their butts are okay with sitting down. What I have come to see is that the very best actually do care about the business. They care about the people, the very best, right? The very best do care. And I mean, sure, you can have a unicorn, your outlier who doesn't really care. It's just a transaction oriented business, but the majority of the very best care. They're in it to win it. They're in it to win it for their clients. And they have a real strength of character that is uncommon. It's uncommon. And that's what I'm fascinated with. And my fascination is, can that character be developed? And I believe it can. And, here are you, thriving actress and now one of the very best in the world. So,
well, just as a parting point, you need to be authentic to yourself. You need to be comfortable and know what your strengths are and know what your weaknesses are. And then when you see your weaknesses, reach out to a partner that can complement the weakness that you have so that you can build business together. Sharing. Actually, my partner talks about it a lot, and I do it too. I share. And I feel like the people that, I'm not, that I want that direct deal. I would never do that. Never.
Well, look you just gave me over an hour of your time into the Canadian marketplace, but it always comes back to you. And
well, thank you for having me.
Bring me to New York, and I'll come work for you, with you, and contribute.
Well, anytime there's an office right here, like right down the hall here. So we would love to have you at Sotheby's International Realty. I know that you would be a rock star, and then you have a lot of top producers to interview in my office.
Oh, you're lovely. Listen, thank you for being you. Thank you for leading the way. Thank you for sharing with us. And I think I believe that if someone listens to this podcast a few times and execute on some of these ideas and understand that you're speaking truth, and I think they can meet with success that they wouldn't have had.
I hope so. That would give me a lot of pressure. I mentor a lot, and I really am excited when I'm able to help other people make, a living. Wow. It's a pleasure to do that and know that you were a part of that journey.
Well, we appreciate you. And of course, I'm probably going to harass you again to come back. And then we'll get very focused on some things, but I appreciate you very much.
Okay. If they have any questions for the next time, if you want to do another one of these down the road, get the questions and I'll be able to prepare something in advance.
I think that'd be wonderful. And I appreciate the offer. I will take you up on that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Have a good day. You too. Bye, everyone.
Take care.
Thanks for tuning in to today's show. If you like what you've heard and you're interested in creating a quantum leap in your real estate business, here's what I want you to do next. Head over to www.theunstoppableagentprogram.com and book an appointment to speak with our team. We'll get on a Zoom call with you for about 30 minutes and get you crystal clear on 3 things. Number 1, what do you really want out of your life and your business? Number 2, what is not working for you today? And number 3, the exact mindset strategy you should be using to create massive change in these areas. Remember, creating massive, consistent results in your real estate business does not happen by itself. You need expert guidance to make it happen. We're helping clients all over the world create peak results in their real estate business. To To see if we can help you do the same, head over to www.theunstoppableagentprogram.com. We'll chat soon.